I'm back. The last time I posted on here was before my surgery, and now I'm 2.5 months after my surgery. But hi guys, if you're new here, my name is Megan, and I'm about 11 weeks post-op from my hip arthroscopy for a labral tear and a cam impingement. And through my recovery, I've been posting here on YouTube, but mostly on TikTok, where I've been sharing weekly updates. So a few weeks ago, I asked my viewers on TikTok to send me any and every question they might have surrounding the surgery. Let me say, you guys did not disappoint. So I pulled those questions plus a few from other videos that I received, and I'm gonna answer them here for you today. So I have all my questions grouped in little categories, and we're gonna start with questions about my symptoms and why surgery. I don't know why I'm so awkward. Anyway, so let's start with the question that everybody's asking. What were my symptoms pre-surgery? I don't blame you for asking this because I was typing this into Google a million times over before I had surgery myself. But first, let me say that everybody's symptoms are so different. So if your symptoms aren't exactly my symptoms, it doesn't mean that you don't qualify for surgery. The crazy thing about your hip is that you can feel compensational pain basically anywhere in your body and not just in your hip. But for me, I mostly have felt my pain in my hip and my back. So first for my hip, if I would let my foot rotate inward or let my leg cross my midline, or even if I would just sit into my hip, it would cause pretty severe inner groin pain. But honestly, my back pain has been the worst throughout this. The way that I describe it to my doctors and my PT, because I've had to explain it a million times over, it's just this deep, persistent ache that gets worse with any movement, from sitting, standing, walking, and even just laying down. And this is actually a big reason why I wanted to get the surgery in the first place. I honestly could have lived with my hip pain if I had to, but the compensational pain that I've had in my back has really affected my daily life, and it's what pushed me in the direction of surgery. And this kind of leads me into my next question, which is, how did I decide surgery was the best option? And for me, it came down to a few things, because I tried a few more conservative treatments for a long time, like rest, taking muscle relaxing medicine, going to the chiropractor, seeing a PT, but nothing was really helping me long term. And that was the issue. I wanted a long-term fix where I wouldn't have to rely on going to a doctor's appointment every single week or having to take medicine every single day for the rest of my life, which was actually an option that one of the doctors I saw gave me. And I was like, ain't no way, I'm not doing that. And then another reason is that my quality of life was being affected to the point where I couldn't pursue the career I wanted to. I was getting terrible sleep. I'm still getting terrible sleep. I should be sleeping right now. Maybe this is why I have terrible sleep. I couldn't move freely, and I even was in pain doing simple tasks, just literally around the house. So at that point, I was very much over it. So then after talking with my doctor and going through possible options that I might have before considering surgery, we decided that surgery was probably going to be the best option for me. And I definitely didn't take that decision lightly, but that kind of also leads me into my next question. I feel so studious. A lot of people ask, how do I know when I need surgery? Honestly, this is a very personal decision that nobody else can answer besides yourself and maybe your doctor. Your doctor should probably tell you. But again, everyone's situation is different. Some people can manage going to PT and taking medicine long term, and for other people, surgery might be the best option just because maybe their career choice or their activity level, anything like that can kind of vary if you need the surgery or not. But it really comes down to how much pain you're in and what limitations are affecting your daily life. But again, that's a decision that you have to make, and nobody on social media can make that decision for you. Anyway, next question and next category. Next, we're going to be talking about pain post-surgery, my favorite topic. I'm lying. First, let me point you to my TikTok page. I basically answered this question on the weekly as I post pretty detailed update videos about just my daily life, my pain, my experiences, what's working for me, what isn't. So I'll point you in the direction of my TikTok first. So I'm gonna kind of keep this a little bit more brief, but first question is, how bad was your pain right after surgery? Not to scare you, but my pain after surgery was a little severe. Right after surgery, when I was still in the hospital, one of the first things that I remember being awake, I was literally thrashing because I was in so much pain until they gave me more medication. And my pain was severe to the point where they also considered keeping me overnight in the hospital, which I did not want to do. It sounded gross to me, so I decided to suck it up, but the medicine did help after a while. Next question, did the anesthesia make you nauseous or sick? Yes, very much so. My head was basically spinning for a full 5 days. And granted, I probably wasn't eating enough food with my medication, which you should do.
You should know this too.
To learn from my mistakes. But yeah, it was horrible. The first night that I came home from the hospital, I threw up every time I stood up consistently.
It is now 5 a.m. and yet again I threw up.
Yeah. And just to preface, not everybody gets nauseous. It's kind of like, I don't know if it's genetic, if that's the right word, but some people get nauseous, some people don't. And so if you do know you get nauseous from anesthesia from a previous surgery, for sure let your doctors know so they can better help you after surgery. And so then they can give you nausea medicine to go home with, which I was not given any because I haven't had a recent surgery where I would have been able to tell them if I was going to be nauseous or not. But yeah, highly recommend a good nausea medication. Next question, when did my pain peak? For me, my pain peaked at like day 5, and this was kind of when my back and my hip were hurting even more than they hurt pre-surgery. And so I was just super uncomfortable. I had zero independence at all, couldn't even lift my own leg to get up and out of my bed, couldn't even go to the bathroom by myself. I was still feeling nauseous at day 5 and couldn't sleep, obviously couldn't walk very well, but literally the next day it was crazy. It was like miraculous. Everything that I just listed improved so much and I gained so much independence. So if you're in the big recovery stage right now, like few weeks after surgery, just know that if it's terrible right now, literally your best day could be right after your worst day, trust me. And last question in this group is, are you still sore? And I'm about 2.5 months post-op, as I said before, and yes, my hip is still slightly sore, which I don't know if that's normal. I hope it is because I should be concerned. But yeah, like my hip feels like when I press on it, like the outside of my hip, it feels like there's a bruise there, but I don't actually have a bruise there. So at this point, I think it might just be nerve damage, but I guess I'll update you on that. Okay, next section is all about my lovely brace. Should I get her? She's downstairs. Fine, give me a second. You guys are really making me go through trauma again. What the heck? Okay, here she is. My PT asked me if I named it. I was like, no. Well, I'm gonna put that here for now. First question. Where the heck am I? Why do some surgeons use a brace and others don't? First, let me say I'm not a doctor. I'm not a cop. I don't know, but I feel like I can make some pretty good assumptions from my experience and seeing other people's experiences. And I feel like it really comes down to the surgeon's personal preference, to be honest, and their approach to recovery. Some surgeons feel that the brace protects the hip and it limits certain movements, but other doctors feel like it's really important to have that mobility right away so your leg doesn't get stiff. But yeah, it's basically all up to doctor's preference. You either get really lucky or you don't at all. And just in general with this whole surgery, every doctor is going to have a different protocol about everything. So the way that I'm answering these questions might not be your protocol, so stick to what your doctor says and not what I say. But in general, I would say my protocol was somewhat in between being like strict and then very easy. And the next question is, how long did you wear the brace? I wore the brace full time for 6 weeks at 60 degrees. So this is what 60 degrees looks like. Oh gosh, take me out. As if I didn't suffer enough from this thing. And you wouldn't think that would be that annoying, but it really is. It's like, I don't know, like I wouldn't even be able to sit up like this because I would have to like brace myself. Back to the question. So I wore the brace full time for 6 weeks at 60 degrees, like I said. And then for 2 weeks, I wore it part time, and basically I just only had to wear it when I was out of the house. And then after that, I was free. I never have to wear her again, which I'm really happy about. We're just gonna put that over there. Anyway, next is kind of a grouping of questions, and it says, what was the brace like? Was it uncomfortable? Did it irritate your skin? And how was sleeping in it? First of all, the brace was very uncomfortable. As I've kind of said, I mean, literally just freaking look at it. Like, it was not meant to be comfortable. It was meant for its specific purpose, and that is to keep your hip from flexing more than the doctors want to. And my nurses really warned me that I was going to hate it, but to be honest, you do get used to it after a while. And for me, I found that I got so used to it that whenever I didn't have to wear my brace, it felt more strange. But I will say the most annoying part of the surgery was all the Velcro. There's a strip of Velcro here, strip of Velcro here, Velcro here, Velcro here. And after a while, all my Velcro got so much hair and fuzz in it, and it started peeling up from like the friction of like my clothes rubbing on it. So at the end point of me having to wear my brace, it would literally not even work effectively because of how many times my Velcro would pop out, and I was literally having to like reach past my hip flexion to put it back. So yeah, it was kind of doing the opposite at a point, but what I did do was I tried to iron it, and that actually did work. So if your Velcro is peeling, go ahead and do that because that actually was helpful. Did it irritate your skin? Not really. It's winter here in Wisconsin, so I was usually wearing my brace over my clothes, so it never really touched my skin, but I can see how it would be slightly irritating if you're wearing like shorts or something. And then sleeping, yeah, I mean, it's gonna be weird, especially if you're a side sleeper, because you can't obviously sleep on your side. And for the first like few weeks, I was exclusively sleeping on my back. But then once I was able to move more, it kind of just became how I normally sleep. Of course, not sleeping on the side that my brace was on. And I was hoping that I was going to get better sleep when I got to take the brace off, but it was pretty much the same, unfortunately. Next section is about mobility and daily life. This is also something that I answer a lot on my TikTok, but we're gonna answer these rapid fire. Let's go. Okay, how long were you on crutches? So my doctor's general protocol was for 2 weeks, but he said basically I could walk without crutches when I was comfortable and when I didn't have pain. So that's what I did. I posted a few TikToks of me walking, which I can put in here. What am I doing? What was I even saying? Oh yeah, and I got a lot of comments of people being low-key rude and like, you shouldn't be walking like that, like you're gonna hurt your incisions and da da da. And like, yeah, I get that, but also at the same time, I'm following protocol, so.
I think I know more about American Girls than you do, genius.
Anyway, I like how I said that that was gonna be rapid fire, and I just went on like a 2-minute rant. Okay, are stairs possible at 4 weeks? Yes, I was going up and down stairs right away because I'm on the 2nd floor of my house, but I was using crutches, obviously, and had to kind of take one step at a time. But after 2 weeks, I was pretty much going up and down stairs without my crutches at all, obviously taking it slow. Next question. When could you drive? Because my surgery is on my left leg, I didn't really have many restrictions. My doctor kind of told me just to wait a few days, you know, especially with like the medicine that you're on, that you don't really necessarily want to be driving. You probably shouldn't be driving when you're on like freaking crazy pain meds. Not a doctor again, not a cop, but you know, I feel like that should just be common sense. I'm sure protocol is way different if you have your surgery on your right side, but yeah. When could you go back to school or work? Normally, people go back to work after like a week and a half to 2 weeks. And if I had a job, I would have probably been fine to do that, but unfortunately I don't because I'm in severe chronic pain. How long before you were sitting normal again? So the word normal is a big word here because I don't think I ever sit normal. I think I would describe the way that I sit as like an iPad kid. You know what I mean? Like with like your butt in the air. Like I just sit like that regularly, so I don't know what normal really means, but if you are talking like sitting like at 90 degrees, it was until I got my brace off. And so that was at like 6 weeks, a little past that, 8 weeks maybe. Could you sit in a car slash plane for long periods of time? I would say for it to be the most comfortable, I would wait until you get your brace off. So again, like the 6 week, 8 week period. But I went on like a 4 hour car ride when I still was in my brace and it was fine. As long as you're not breaking your protocol, especially if you're in a car and you're easily able to recline your seat where it's not annoying to other people, that's a-okay. But yeah, should be good. I feel like I should like make a tally of how many times I've said protocol in this video. Protocol, 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 protocol. Next question is literally just bathroom logistics. I never thought I'd be talking about that on the internet, so there's a first for everything. I used a toilet riser for about 4 weeks and that was really helpful. I got so comfortable to the point where I was like, I never want to let this thing go. Like, why would I ever want to like sit down so low when I could just like sit up here and it's so low effort. But after I did take that away, I literally had to like brace myself on the walls, especially if I would like go to a restaurant or something where I wasn't like used to like my usual environment. Next section of questions are going to be about my recovery time and PT. So first question is, how long is recovery really? And again, this is going to differ for what surgery you had. For me, my surgery was pretty mild compared to like what you can get, but my doctor told me the general window is about a year to a year and a half. If you're thinking like, wow, that's really long, like why would it take that long? Like, but yes, it seems pretty accurate once you're actually in the recovery, because at 2 months, I'm like feeling no different than I did pre-surgery. So, oh, should I be concerned? Maybe, but no. We're good. How important is PT really? Again, I'm not a doctor, but I think I'm smart enough to know that PT is literally everything. The surgery is really only a small part of the process, and the PT covers everything else, and that's where mostly all the recovery happens. It's what helps you regain your strength, your mobility, it builds your trust in your body again. So if you're not going to take PT seriously, I would say don't even get the surgery because it's not going to be effective for you. Then what did your first weeks of PT look like? For this question, I'm going to answer just kind of like what my PT has looked like in general. So my first few weeks were basically all isometrics, and it was really basic movement. A lot of it was just focusing on activating the right muscles again. Gradually, I've now built up to doing things like lunges, banded squats, standing clamshells, planks, and with the main priority to strengthen my glutes and my abs. Next question is it normal to feel pain when strengthening? From what my PT told me, that is normal for you to still feel pain, but what he told me is on a scale from 1 to 10, your general window should be 1 to 4 on the pain scale, and if it gets anywhere past that, you should either stop doing the exercise entirely or modify it so it's easier, so you're back in that window from 1 to 4. And then last question is really simple. What has helped with soreness after PT? As a dancer and a very just active person, I can take this off of my own experience. Water, stretching, using a Theragun, using a foam roller, and definitely rest. Guys, we're on the last section of questions. If you made it this far, I love ya. I love ya, truly. Okay, so the next topic is incisions and scars, literally best for last. Like, this is just exactly how you want to end a video, you know, talking about open wounds. Anyway, this is actually one of the biggest concerns that people have, and it was actually one of my big concerns, like not for the surgery itself, like I'm concerned about the gaping holes that I have in my body. First question, what does your incision look like? You really want to know what it looks like? Okay, you asked for it. So, warning, skip ahead if you don't want to see my incision. You've been warned. So, I have 3 incisions on my hip, and there's 2 in the front of my hip and 1 more off to the side. This first video is from when I got to take my bandages off on day 3. And this is when I still had the stitches in and everything was looking pretty good at this point, just a little swollen, of course. And then this next picture is what they looked like about 2 weeks after I finished my antibiotics, because I had an infection on my biggest stitch, which is really lucky of me. And trust me, I'm sparing you from the actual graphic photos of my infected wound, so you're lucky. And then these 3 pictures are what it looks like now. And my scars are definitely going to lighten up as time goes on. I think I took this from a video on my TikTok that I was talking about my incision. So somebody asked, how did you know your incision was infected? Basically, this is a simple answer, because my incision was bright red, it had yellow pus coming out of it, and it smelled weird. So again, sorry, you asked for it, you asked the questions. I'm gonna be so truthful. I'm gonna be so truthful. Anyway, what's the next question? What have you been doing to help your scars? So originally I was using just scar cream. Let me get it. Where'd she go? Oh, review time. Oh my goodness. Oh. Okay, so this is the first scar cream that I used, and this is just like the Up and Up brand from Target. Got it because it was cheap, but basically it's just literally clear gel. And I ended up stopping using this because after I saw my doctor, she highly recommended using silicone patches because they will just stay on so much longer and you don't have to reapply it constantly. And with this, I definitely was rubbing it off constantly with my clothes, and I had to be super mindful to put it on a lot. So these are the 2 patches that I've tried. These ones are from Amazon, and my doctor said to get the C-section ones just because they're like a little bit longer. They're like this. These ones are nude and my other ones that I have are clear, but genuinely I don't recommend these. These like barely stay on. It says that you'll be able to wear them for like weeks, but they like roll up so easily. These ones I also got from Target, and they're called Scar Away. They're a little bit more expensive than like what the gel is and then what like these ones from Amazon are, but these have been my favorite so far. I'll actually put in a video of me wearing them. So basically what I do to like save them, because there's only 6 in this box, and the strips are pretty small compared to the other ones, but I'll just cut it up, and then you can actually wear these for like weeks at a time, as long as you make sure you clean your skin before, and so you're not gonna produce like any weird bacteria up in there. And then I lied, I actually do have another section. It's prep and surgery must-haves, but I'm gonna make a whole separate video to talk about those, so you're gonna have to wait. But yeah, that is that is all my questions that I have for you today. If you stayed to the end, you are the realest of realists. I hope this gave you a better idea of what surgery is like. If you guys have any questions, you can continue to comment them here and on my TikTok, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. But of course, don't forget to like this video and subscribe, leave a fun comment for me to read, and make sure to check out my TikTok because I'm a lot more active on there, and I think that's it. Anyway, I'll see you next time. Bye. Joke's on you guys. I've been wearing my PJ pants this whole video. You didn't even know. You didn't even know. My hip popped. Okay, I think this is a time for me to leave. Okay, bye. Love you.